All right, folks, welcome back to the, I'll say it's the waning episodes here of Campaign 18. I don't know if that's true, but it feels like it's true. Feels like we're almost there. It's almost September 1864. The Union, in the last few months, their morale has just plummeted. Support's kind of holding up. The way it's modded is they're supposed to try to converge towards one another, so they would converge around 45. We would be at about 60, and so we are up. And if we're able to drive their national support down, I think just a little bit more, we should be able to get Lincoln to lose in early November, and with that, the national morale should collapse for the Union, and that will be the end of this campaign. It's not a campaign I'm eager to leave, but yeah, I mean, if it does, I'm not gonna drag it out. We can get on to the next one. I think I have the idea down for the next one. It's going to take some modding. Now, this should be interesting. I think we're going to have two divisions here. We're going to have Jackson. Let me just make sure they're not scouting. Okay, they're not scouting. Yeah, that is that. There was this push here to all of that. Yeah. So we're going to take this battle, and we will see what we get. That's pretty much all you can ever do. But we have two more divisions coming up from just north of Nashville. So even if we lose here, I think when they arrive, they'll be able to push the Union out of Bowling Green. But this is kind of a... It's not like an alternative win condition, but it's... if we get Kentucky to secede, it might... The Union, I forget what I left the national morale break at. I think maybe I lowered it to 35 from 39, because otherwise the war would be almost over right away. I'm a little surprised that the convergence factor between morale and support hasn't... It's turned up in this scenario, but I think that the morale of the Union has just plummeted because they're not able to really get anything going. So, all right. Initially, this looks bad for us. It is bad, yeah. So we have to attack. We have to attack on the Springfield map. We have even numbers. Let me see. All right, Jackson's here. We've seen Jackson fight quite a bit. Where are the entry points for the Union? So they're all over here. So I think they're up at this railroad. And since they're all 3-pointers, it's whoever holds 2 holds, the other side has to attack. So that's where things are. I would not venture a crossing over there. I think we play it safe. We creep up. We do that. I wanted to check out this. So they're nobody important. They're nobody important. That's what I was afraid of. This looks like a really new division. It's not their first battle, but they're also just not that good. So that is unfortunate. We'll probably send Harris up first. We're going to detach this anyway, so we might as well do that now and just move them back. Harris, we're going to detach you at some point. So again, we'll just do that now. Jackson, I thought, had been around longer. May not be true, and I don't know who... Let's see if we can find a Huger. So Huger only commands Hill, who's up here. That's... Okay, well, we'll get Huger closer to him. And then that's Jackson. All right. So Jackson's over here. I think this road up... Well, no. Let's take the whole group here. Jackson's division has 2 stars. Humphrey's brigade has 3. Ramshore has 3. Just has 3. I see a beat-up regiment. We got Plains rifles. That's a good sign. Fayettevilles are fine. Plains and Fayettevilles, Mississippi's. Okay. So Jackson has certainly a much better division, I think. So we'll see how far we get with them, but I'll give them the same treatment here. We'll detach the artillery, and I think playing it safe means let's just go. I'm tired of talking about it. All right, hill is here. We'll see if we can make it up here. I don't know. And if we do, it's an awkward angle because this point is much closer than the one that's up here, but we'll go with that anyways. Should probably use these guys, right? Send you forward. Harris will do the same. Huger. Why don't you just get going? Jackson. Yeah, it kind of works. We'll get you started. It's 2:30 in the afternoon, so this is a fairly lengthy trek. And why is nobody moving? Okay, well, they look like they know that orders are coming. They're just not doing much about. Blocher's artillery battalion is no joke. We'll probably leave them near those roads just because artillery tends to like roads for movement and other stuff. But yeah, the idea was kind of to use maybe take the Bitter Creek and then try to use that to hold those 2 points. It's I mean, if the Union sits over here, right, they got a forest. I think the creek bed, I think forest, actually I might have modded it to improve its cover, but also increase its disruption. So that, yeah, otherwise it's pretty open field all around. But we'll see what the AI does, and I don't know what kind of troops they have. All right, but we know they're not here. So you know what? I do want to send them forward to scout, but I actually don't have to. I'm concerned about sending them so far ahead that what normally happens is that they get killed. And we kind of need everyone we can get to be in this fight. But the Union should be able to concentrate its forces if they just, they could just hold Bitter Creek, right? And that gives them two. It doesn't matter if I take the one up here, so they could take the creek, they could take the forest as a fallback. It's kind of hard to rapidly attack from there or rapidly attack through the north, I guess, because you're going to run into trees, you're going to slow down. There's no roads, and there's this road, and this is a strong position for the Union. I mean, if they're able to, if we attack back this far, not that we would have to, but if we did, they would be able to use that railroad, and we'd get a forest, but railroads are better than forests. They're going to give more cover, so this could be a challenging attack. These are, again, I've for those who have followed this, but even if you haven't, I've been trying to mod the AI to get it to make fewer mistakes. And I usually say that, where it's kind of 50-50 in terms of forces, I think the AI has a better than 50-50 chance. I know that doesn't make any sense, but where the forces are really even, I don't go in expecting to win. So in this one, I want to make it bloody. Understand that these two divisions might have to fall back, but I'm going to rely on the other two divisions coming up from Nashville to finish these off. So we'll see. And if we get a win, that would be nice, but I'm not sure we're going to get that. All right, let's speed this up a bit. Again, if we could push, all right. So I think our rest of our forces are close enough. We can push up a little bit here. Push Harris up here, and we'll put Scott Probably not too far away. We'll put them at that crossroads there. I'm a little nervous about running into the Union, but they haven't captured this point yet. Pause here. There's also the possibility that they are waiting for, I was going to say their next division, but that definitely looks like 2 divisions. And yeah, they've pretty much kept the structure I gave them. So the AI, I'm not trying to power game the AI, but this is just silly on their part. Doing this, they should have moved up. And there's certain things I can't mod this, and I think I'm the only person. I mean, it's a small community, but I think I'm the only person who actually really likes having a lot of these objectives around. And my view is that the AI personality ought to be dictated by whoever controls the most victory points. Instead, it uses strength calculations to determine, right, there's macro behavior and micro behavior. But like here, they should realize that there are, even though they're up on victory points, that there's more that's out there that they need to get. And so they should have moved up to here. And then I think what they're doing is fine. Yeah, consolidating your forces, honestly, they're pretty much doing the right thing, but they're doing it a couple 100 yards off. And, well, maybe more than a couple 100 yards. What? Yeah. Anyways, they're doing it from too far away. But the general idea is correct, but they should realize that they need to take at least one more of these to have a majority. Then they could sit in a defensive posture, right? Once the AI knows that, right, it's got a majority of the victory points and it can win on the defensive, then it can transition over to defensive unless it has, and so something it does currently is it apparently weighs reinforcements that are going to come in. I'm not exactly sure how it weighs it, right? They'd have to do the calculation that if, right, the player is going to get more, wow, that's why things are so slow. Oh my goodness. Yeah, if things are so, sorry, two different lines there. But yeah, if the player's going to get more in reinforcements than they are, like significantly, and the ground isn't going to be good enough to hold against that numerical advantage, they should attack early and try to wipe the player before the player's reinforcements show up. But also take into account objectives and holding objectives. It's not just the conquest lover in me from more rights. I've had this position for a while on the multiple victory points, and I think they should kind of orient what the AI does, maybe broadly, and because it makes battlefield control matter more. A lot of times in this game, I think it's true outside of my mods as well, but I just haven't played them as much. A lot of the points are in the corners of the map, so you don't really get to play a lot, and it gets a bit silly, right? When you have, well, even in, these two armies in this battle, right? So there's, what do we have, about 16,000 on each side? I mean, if you're all fighting over, if it was all over a 3-pointer of Bitter Creek or whatever, I mean, there's just a lot of territory here. And it feels like for the number of troops on the battlefield, like they would try to contest more than I understand the argument, like Bitter Creek maybe holding it, controls who can go that way and who can go that way, but there's just a lot of maps. So at least here, it's this range you need to fight for rather than this range. And I like that. And I kind of wish that mattered a bit more and that the AI was kind of programmed to deal with that. But anyways, I'm just telling you stuff while my troops are getting into position. I think our plan is to, if the AI is not going to move up, then we are. And we want to do it, sort of like that. And that would be our last stopping off point, I think, before we go to the Bitter Creek. We're going to send the cavalry up and take this. I think once I take one of these points, though, the AI is going to recognize, oh, we don't have the victory point. So they do know about it, and then they'll kind of move to it. I think it queues up as a new objective, but I don't know why it's not identified as an objective now, right? Like, they should know we have 3 points. There's 6 points that are unclaimed, and so like we need to control a majority of the victory points in order to force the player to come to us. And I think they're just one step short. I think they're almost there, but not quite. What to do with the artillery? Yeah, I mean, if we put it here, it's right on a bunch of roads, and so it can go kind of north, south, east, west. It might get obstructed by all of its friendlies. To which I say, well, it's something. Maybe it should be down here to cross into Bitter Creek. I don't know. But we've been very fortunate that the Union is hanging back. I guess while I'm here, I could take a look at who I'm up against. 57th Kentucky. What kind of weapons they got? They don't have Maynards. They might have Maynards. 4th Kentucky Cav. They got Springfields. Again, perfectly fine. Yeah. Perfectly fine. Not the best, and certainly not the worst. Better than the mixed muskets that we have, but we do have plains rifles. I think we had some Mississippis, and so those, as I've modded them, those are not terrible at all. Anyways, back to my story. As my forces kind of take their last steps here, I think the next campaign is going to be almost entirely a Union one, but the scenario will be that secession was much more widespread, and I think that's going to be true on the map, both in the parts that you can see, but like Missouri and Kentucky, probably right off the bat I'll try to mod to go CSA. Maybe Kansas, native territory. Off the map, try for Arizona, New Mexico. So there's certain policies that I can get to do that, but I think I can also just go in the files and do it. I don't think I would start. So I've played a campaign before where Maryland starts as the CSA, and it's just weird because then the national capital is kind of surrounded by CSA territory, and the CSA just does very odd things. It gets hyper aggressive, but in a way that's not good for the AI. And so I think Maryland will probably stay Union, but with a large kind of Confederate sympathy. Delaware is, it's whatever. It's Delaware. I'm not going to worry too much about that, but I think it's going to be kind of a much larger Confederacy, and then it's going to be the job of the Union to try to pull all that back. I might write up a scenario for it. I might change some of the population values to make it more of a challenge. And I'll probably go in from time to time and do some housekeeping for the CSA, but I think that would be a good one. I would like to do the regimental again. Again, I've been really happy with this. I don't mind 15,000 versus 15,000 when it's regimental scale. I would not want it to be like the last campaign where we're doing brigade scale and it was, sometimes 150,000 on each side. That's extreme, but we had lots of battles where there was 200,000 men total, and I was just like, this is a bit much. All right, where are you, Johnson? Okay, we don't need your brigade, but we do have your division. We're gonna move the division up here, and you know what? Now that I do that, it kind of looks like we should move the artillery up the road. Jackson. Yeah, we can worry about the last bit later. I don't know. Maybe we should move one battery up in the field and then move the other battery up the road. Yeah, it's very, very odd here. Again, I'm not going to try not to telegraph too much of it by sending the cav forward, but we can send them to rush it. Actually, I can bring Scott over here. I don't know what that audio thing was, but We can have him do it. We don't need scouts anymore. That phase of the battle is past us. Loacher. Or maybe we just stay here and yeah. Just worried that this battery is going to be obstructed. Okay. Let's see if it pushes us back. It might push us back. It does not, which is really bad for the Union. The fact that we can deploy that far forward. Now I think we can turn the tables on them. I think rather than just go to the victory point, what we do is yeah, I think we put just there. I think we put Ramsur there. I think Humphreys needs to be kept back because he may well have to go down here, or he may have to reinforce one or the other of them. With Scott here, well, we'll keep him here, but I think it's going to be for the morale buff. Oh, and we have, hold on, we have 12 engineering points. So we don't need to go forward. They got to come to us. So with that there, Humphreys, you seem like you're in pretty good shape. Although some of your men, no, they are in good shape. I will see if Scott can do this. Okay, we don't need him doing that. Yeah, in level 4 parapets, loose formation, those yeah. Even if we have to go prone, I mean they should be able to hang out a long time. All right, so I'm gonna put Humphreys actually in the parapet. I think I'll move just back, just a wee bit, because we want our lines more or less connected. We're gonna do that there. Up north. Hill. So here's the conundrum. If we go to the crest, which certainly protects this point up here, Jackson's a little too far away to usually help. I don't want to divide my force. So we put Harris. Harris's cav is going to be there. I'm worried about Colquitt. I see that unit. So maybe we move that. That unit back. We put Johnson there. Mahone there. As worried as I'll be, I have to keep Colquitt there. Huger. We'll just put him here. Then it's a question of artillery. I don't know. I feel like the infantry are going to be in their way there. So maybe we put it back at the creek. Not too sure what to do with that. All right, but we're going to do that. We've spent enough time kind of dawdling here, so go ahead and play. Yeah, I forgot to send out skirmishers to give us a little bit more sight. We also want to push up, so they can't really use the forest as well. Okay, push. There are a lot of Colquitts, as there were in the war. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna move up. And Hill, actually, you can probably come over here. It's a pretty game with lossless scaling, and yeah, the enhanced 3D mod that a modder made makes the game look great. So those two things combined, very nice. But I think now we're just going to try to use the terrain. Assume that we have about 50-50 in terms of numbers. Terrain should usually give us an advantage. They'll have the creek bed here. You know what? They don't even have forest cover, so we're going to move them back. We'll move them back. We don't have to take a disadvantage shootout. This looks like their best attack path, right where that unit is. This is a much longer plane, and it's an uphill, and even if you took it, you still have to get back to the point, which is over here. Alright, so we're going to mount up, we're going to move down here, and maybe... Oh, I don't know, man. The only spot I can kind of see is back here. I'm not sure about that, and that was the wrong. This is what I should click for that. We can try this, but again, I have my doubts. All right, let's check this out here. Are you not entertained? Come on. That is awesome. But yeah, this is a short gap from cover to cover, but it looks like they stopped just outside that cover. Now, they are firing as well. The rest of the Union, I mean, it's a road, so they'll move quickly. Unfortunately for this brigade, they pushed up without support, though. That looked really cool. Good news, well, they can do a little bit more fighting, but not much. Most of those units are well over halfway through their lost resilience, and I could be wrong, but I don't think we took very much damage. Yeah, looking at it, it doesn't look like we have. Alright, well. Looks like the Union's just gonna square up. Maybe because, so the AI like knows the cover and then they frequently try to flank it. And you know, probably level 4 parapets, you know, against the water's edge. You can only flank it by going through the trees, and the trees are full of woods. Probably, maybe. Again, this is probably the shortest gap, but the downside of that is that it allows me to maximize my firepower. Let's see if this helps you move. So, given what I've seen, think Johnson could move like just about all the way up there. It does seem like silly micro stuff, and it is, but... Alright, they should all have cover there, and then Colquitt. Colquitt, why can't I click you? What is going on here? You know what? Colquitt should hang tight. There is a chance that they'll just try to wrap around the top. And that would be very bad. But I think that's pretty much one brigade down and out. That's not who I wanted to know about. What brigade are you part of? Negley's? Negley is almost done. It's almost done. Alright, so I guess we need to move our cav back up here. Alright, so based on what I'm seeing, I'm going to move just up here. And either he's going to have to move up to the crest, or we're going to have to remove Johnson and send him back with the rest of Hill's division up there. So we'll wait and see. Alright, I'm not seeing much over here. Might be able to do that. Ooh. Well, they're making it to the woods without getting shot. I don't know if I should... I'm sorry, this is just too stupid to watch. I have to help the AI. That was just too dumb. Alright, this is a real push. Looks like one, maybe two brigades are going to try to hit down here. Wow. Yeah, that cav unit is actually doing alright. I mean, only 60 casualties. I think they're actually in the woods, so that helps. What is going on up here? You, sir, are a sneaky hobbit. Colquitt, this may not be the thing you want to do, but I need you to move up here. Wow, they're trying to find a flank, I think. No, they're not. They're just taking up their position. As always, I hope OBS captures it and YouTube doesn't diminish the video too much, degrade it too much when it uploads. It looks pretty good to me, man. So these guys are committing to this fight in the woods. Oh, now it sounds like the Union's running into the mainline infantry here back in the parapets. And again, we have backup regiments should any of these get too shot up. Johnson's not done bad. Okay, my cav is up here. I'm going to try to find the end of their line. I think that's the remnants of whatever it was, Negley or whoever it was. Yeah, this is a big old push, man. That was pretty cool watching the arty blast. They at least found good places to sight their guns. They're ahead of me. Far be it from me to tell the Union how to do their job, but I think they just got to move up and try to unload it close range. I don't think there's really any other way you're going to be able to do this. Yeah. Alright, so we still have... It's not Jackson's here. We'll move Jackson down. It's just... Brigade. It's kind of sitting up there in reserve. I think my plan over here with Mahone's brigade is to probably push up now. And I'm hoping that Colquitt can polish off what I believe is Negley's. Yeah, it is Negley's brigade, and they're about to break. So far, the casualties have been real light. Uh-oh. What is this? Oh, no. Heading in the wrong direction for attackers. They still have a critical mass here. It looks like they've been ordered to leave. I don't know if that's because they've detected that they're flanked up here, which could explain it. But, oh, they just took that many casualties in a really short period of time. Yikes. Well, that's all we really had to do was beat them. Now we could go for a bigger win, which is... Yeah, it's usually what I'm doing. So we'll tell you to assault, and we'll tell you to assault, and we'll see what we get. Oh, it's nice to see that my artillery actually found positions up there. I could actually shoot through that gap. Oops. 7th Connecticut whipped out. I'm not even sure where they were. This is us in assault mode. What? Holy moly. Is this real? I have no idea how that happened. Like, we didn't capture anybody. I have no idea. I've never seen that. Like, sometimes at most one or two will give up like that. Usually it's when they're surrounded. I've heard of armies disintegrating on the battlefield when they're. I think it's when their morale was low, anyways, and they lose. So maybe it was low on the campaign map, but oh my goodness. I know that this serves me right for at the beginning of the battle when I was like, oh, the AI, when it's 50-50, qualitatively and quantitatively, like you don't have a good chance. And then I go in there and I do like 5-1 casualties or something like that. That is not normal. Yeah, I think they made some mistakes early. So I don't know that Haskell deserves. I don't know that he deserves to be disgraced. I think he just got ordered to a rough position. Maybe he should have fallen back slightly to the trees, but it was either his regiment was going to get shreked or a bunch of regiments would have all gotten a little shreked. So maybe we can let his regiment sit out the next few battles, but holy moly. Yeah, that was yeah, that was a wild finish. And maybe we're stuck at 98% load. Okay, so it got to 100. I was gonna say maybe after all that it'll crash and this will never happen again. Oh my goodness. It's 5,000 out of the war for them. For us, it's like 3, probably not even 400 out of the war. Oh my goodness, that is terrible. And again, my plan was to basically bloody them, lose that battle, and then allow who is it here? Field and French to come in and kind of take all the glory, but yikes. And maybe it's because the Union's national morale is so low. I don't know. I just work here. I really don't know what to tell you. Saunders Division. I mean, yeah, the Union was recruiting. It's not like they couldn't get the numbers. All right, I say we make the play here. We make the play for Covington. You know what you can do? For right now, just hold up. Hold up. I'm not really sure what's going on here. We have a supply depot. What? Get back here. You ain't doing that. Yeah, do something like that instead. Alright, Fields Division is a coming. DHL needs a break. I don't know why that's funny. I can just imagine the headline. DHL needs a break. And Newton's division, which is like the impossible division, which was kind of like on a... looked like it was embarked right here, so I couldn't attack it, and it was just making me mad, so I left. And now apparently they've gone back on land and they're making a supply depot, so... you know what? I don't like you guys. I'm going to send Stuart to deal with you. Okay, we'll put you in scouting because you need some, some of that. All right. Anyways, that's the war in the center. I don't think there's anything going on. So little action out here. I think 63 was far more eventful out in the far west. Oh, we lost lossless, so we gotta. Yeah, lossless scaling has a tendency to junk out whenever we load in and out, but load in and out of battles, but that might be other things that also have to do with Grand Tactician, so yeah, it's much smoother now. It's 51 frames versus 18, which is what it's actually getting. Completely unrelated to all that, I think I have an AMD driver update I need to do, but these are the things I remember. by the time I shut this down and upload this, I'm gonna have forgotten about it. And I can't say that any of it seems like it makes a difference, but I think I like to think that it's making a difference. All right, I'm glad that this, whatever this was, ended, because some fleet was attacking Fort Monroe, and I sailed all over and could not find out what it was. And why is this Union? Do they really have an army down there? We're gonna have to investigate. I'm really surprised the national support of the Union is not pulling up its national morale, while also pulling down its national support. That's how I've modded it to work, but I think its morale has just crashed faster than that can do its thing. Give me Covington. Give me Kentucky. And from there, maybe we go to Cincinnati. This is probably way more people than the tiny little supply depot here at Bowling Green can handle, but everybody wants to be in Kentucky when it flips, if it flips. So that's why they're the way they are. All right, we do have supply problems. So what are they? Field, Smith, French, Ransom, Stevenson, Ewell. Ugh. I think a lot of that is in Kentucky. I'm looking over here. Democratic nomination announced. The true issue, or that's what's the matter. Okay. Got it. Folks in Washington, if they had the spirit, they might be able to rush through here, but I don't know. Unless it was a quick victory, you'd probably be able to truck all those divisions over and fight them. All right, so we got a bunch of cottonclads finished. Always nice. What? Oh. Never mind, it's just a blockading squadron. That looks like a big one. I kind of like to go after it for what it's doing to me, but let's see. Who needs... I don't need any of that. Alright. Put that one back in repair. I guess these other ones are okay. Cottonclads are not the swiftest. I think we should probably take the third-rate steamer out, but there it is. All right, we will do that, and we are here to fight the blockade. So even though this is probably going to go terribly, we're still going to. Oh, we nationalized trade. I don't remember taking that policy, but I probably did. Did we really? Well, that's what it says. Huh. European relations, plus 25. Cotton stocks reduced by 50%. I don't know. Does that really... Yeah, whatever. Let's do it. We're kind of in junk time. I have no idea who got rehabilitated. So apparently it's kind of like, you know, an inbox. I got 500, almost 600 unread messages. I don't want to go in there. Who knows what I'll find? Do we have... Okay, so we do have a farm mech. That I'm happy about. That I will take. What is this one again? Counter prop. Further reduce enemy support in loyal states. Yeah, I'd be cool with that. I mean, I generally like pumping up my own support, but yeah, I got Virginia up to 60%. Tennessee's holding on at 57. Arkansas's down to 44. I don't know what that's about. I mean, so little of it is controlled by the Union. Yeah, I don't know. Uh-oh. I think the war's almost over. I'm looking up here now. You know what? I will fight this battle, but I'm looking at now at how close I am. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. But I'm gonna load into this one and I'm gonna end it because it might be the last battle of the war. Which is fine. Yeah, and like I said, unless the Union, I don't know, maybe they get a couple takes of propaganda or something like that. I don't even know what they can do to get their national morale up, because even then that's support, which indirectly helps. But yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and load in, and you don't need to watch that. But yeah, we're going to call this a video. I would probably play the war out in the battle, but we got to end this for in real life reasons. But we got to end the episode. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now these actually, well, these are more defensible. Excuse me while I yawn here, but you know, and some of this stuff could change, I found, because once you kind of load in and load out, or load back in after the save, it sometimes does some weird things. But I think what would be paramount here is that we just kind of stick together. Union has to come to us. Presumably, they're coming from up here. Well, yeah, then probably they're likely to come over here. And so we'll figure out the details later. I'm going to go ahead and close that up. Close that up. I don't really care about the entrenching. I mean, I'll throw it down. Maybe that'll help make sure that enough of this saves. But I think that, yeah, that's fine. And that's fine. All right, so we'll press play so that things actually hopefully go forward a little bit. And that's where we'll end this episode. It looks like we have a very, very short one coming up. After this, maybe it'll go longer. I certainly hope it. I thought we had a few more episodes. It can't be over this soon, but it might be. So stay tuned. You'll find out more in the next episode.